Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number 18 in my favorite 30 progressive rock albums of the 70s countdown. We've got 30 days here in June 2023. I have picked out my 30 favorite prog rock albums of the decade. That was the 70s, the decade for prog rock. We got lots of prog rock that's been happening over the last 30, 40 years, but the 70s is long looked at as the glory days of progressive rock. I have limited myself to a maximum of 3 albums by any one band to try and make sure we get as much in here as possible, because I think, like I've said many times during the month, I could have easily just picked 5 or 6 bands and had 4 or 5 albums from each, and boom, there you go, there's the whole list. So I decided not to do that. I decided to do maximum of 3. There will be some that will have 3. There were some that could have had 3, and I limited to 2 because I wanted to squeeze in some other really, really good stuff. But ultimately, there's a lot of great albums that will not get mentioned this month and not make the cut. Doesn't mean I don't love them. Can only pick 30, right? So I'm to the point where I need to stop lamenting over the fact that all these great albums are not going to get mentioned this month. You know I love them. That's what it's all about. I just like 30 more. That's what it comes down to, because there's so many great prog albums from the 70s. So today, my pick for number 18, or pick number 18, is the 7th studio album from this British band. Gee, what a surprise. Another British band, right? October 6th, 1974 was the release date. Recorded at Olympic Studios in London, England, for Island and Atlantic Records. Produced by the band. I'm talking about Red by King Crimson. Basically the swan song for King Crimson for 6 years, right? This was the last lineup. Basically a trio here of Bill Bruford, Robert Fripp, and John Wetton. Of course, drums, guitars, and mellotron, bass and vocals. You got David Cross does appear on a couple tracks on this album, on violin and mellotron, but he, by this point in time, was not a full-time member of the band. After the Starless and Bible Black album, band basically goes out, does a little tour, and then Fripp decides that's it for King Crimson. So, which, kind of sucked at the time, but as we saw, and as we've seen throughout the history of King Crimson, Robert Fripp is all about kind of breaking apart lineups and then reconvening with fresh faces for a different type of sound. We've seen it all throughout their career, right? You got after the first 2 albums, breaking that apart and then doing something different for 2 separate albums of different sounds, and then breaking that apart or breaking those apart and then coming together with this configuration for this leaner, meaner, version of the band, and then the early 80s version of the band, and then the 90s, and so it's constantly happened throughout the career of this band. But some fantastic stuff on this album. One of the great King Crimson albums of all time. Starts off with the metallic, dare I say, proto-metal title track, Red. I mean, that riffing, killer. Great instrumental by the band. Then you got, of course, Fallen Angel, majestic, also pretty rockin', great vocal from John Wetton. Then One More Red Nightmare. That's killer up-tempo, pretty heavy track as well. Also great vocals from Wetton on that one. Then on side 2, you got 2 really great tracks. You got Providence, all right, just over 8 minutes long. And then the unforgettable, for my money, the kind of like the sequel to Epitaph, which is Starless. 12 minutes and change. Some just heart-pouring, jagged guitar lines from Fripp. An amazing vocal from Wetton. Bruford's drumming around this whole album is just so good. More so on the more intricate, speedier stuff. But you got mellotron all over the place on here. It's savage. It's beautiful. It's dark. It's ominous. It's this version of King Crimson is basically everything all rolled into one. That's what I love so much about this lineup of this band. So, that's my pick for today. Let's take a look and see if we have any charting information here. Also, I do want to mention you got, like I said, David Cross, violin and mellotron, as additional guests on this album. Mel Collins does appear on this album on soprano saxophone on Starless. You got Ian McDonald on alto saxophone on One More Red Nightmare and Starless. And Mark Charig on cornet on one track, and Robin Miller on oboe on another track. So, as far as charting positions, Australia, number 94, In the UK, this made it to number 45. And on the US Billboard charts, number 66. So, again, as with most of the King Crimson catalog, not big sellers, not big charting albums, no certifications for this either, but like over the, such a tremendous influential band that when you really think about it, mostly a kind of popular cult band, right? They've never been tremendously popular among the masses, but the people who are into this sort of thing, of course, look at them with lots of love and lots of respect. And so many musicians and other bands have looked up to King Crimson and taken influence from King Crimson. So, we say this all the time here on the channel. Important bands are not always the ones that sold millions of records. It's just not the way. This doesn't always work out that way because the masses have very, their tastes are much different than people who are serious music aficionados. And serious music aficionados look at a band like King Crimson as one of the greats, record sales or charting positions notwithstanding, right? So, so that's my pick for today. Red comes in at number 18. 18, is that what I said? Yes, 18. Let us know what you think of the great Red in the comments below, as well as your pick for today, pick number 18, and we'll see you right back here once again tomorrow with number 17. Till then, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts, and please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations as well as our merch page. So thank you in advance for all of your help there. And we'll see you later on. What we got coming up today? We've got In the Prog Seat. It's back tonight, right? It's In the Prog Seat and UK Connection Week. So we've got the folks joining me tonight, the crew. I believe the full crew is tonight. Well, most of them anyway. Doing a look at our favorite albums from 1979. Then we've got Simon Bray and Stephen Reed joining me via Zoom for Saturday's edition of the UK Connection, where we will be talking about our favorite and least favorite albums from the solo catalog of Ozzy Osbourne, right? So that's coming up on Saturday, and then of course Sunday is ranking the albums. I'll be joined by George Lemmy and Eric Porter. We will be ranking the albums of the great fusion band Planet X, so stay tuned for that on Sunday. So, and of course tomorrow is What's Hot with Sea Tranquility Day. New album review, should have a whole bunch for you. Got the Chris Allo will be giving you guys a review of the Live Evil box set from Black Sabbath. I will be joined by Davey Gallagher for a review of the brand new Rival Sons. I've got the new Witch Hazel. I should hopefully have Mystery and maybe Immortal and maybe something else. We'll see. So till then, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.